Most programs give you the ability to undo your last action or actions, which is great for fixing mistakes or trying something different. And in most programs, the keyboard shortcut for that is Command-Z or Control-Z on a PC. So if I delete a clip and then I decide that I want that back, I just press Command-Z and it's back. But what if I want to go back to a point 5 minutes ago or 30 minutes ago? Well, fortunately, Premiere Pro makes this relatively easy by using the History panel. Now, just so you know, you don't have any specific exercise files for this movie because each individual user has his or her own unique activity within the History panel. So just follow along with your own History panel, although it will look different than mine. I've still provided a sequence in the 6.6 bin for you to play around with if you like. All right, so I'm going to come to my History panel, which by default is in your project pane, the very last tab. If it's not there, you can always pull it up within your window menu, okay? And so here it is. You can see that I have 32 undos available to me. This is based on how many recent actions I've done, currently with the maximum set at 32. If I've recently opened the project, then this number will reset. So accessing your History panel is only as good as the session that you've most recently been working in. At the very bottom are my most recent edits. So that helps me in one of two ways. One, perhaps I just need to take a look at my list of actions to sort of refresh my memory on how I got to a certain place. Two, and probably much more likely, is that I actually need to step back in time because something I tried out didn't work very well, or maybe I messed things up and got out of sync, or maybe I just liked the edit the way it was before I tried a bunch of stuff. So all I need to do is simply select the point in time before I made my mistake. So I actually recently shortened my sequence, and I don't like it. I want to get back to where I was. And I know that that was right up here in Extract. So I don't come back to Extract, I come back to the level above it. I'm going to click on that. Okay, so you can see that the section that I extracted is back. Not only that, but everything after this has not occurred. Okay, so I've literally stepped back in time. And then in my list, everything before this is white, and everything after this is sort of grayed out. Now, this doesn't mean that I can't go forward in time, though. I can come down here, and I'm going forward through my various actions. I'm going to come back up to right before the extract. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is that as soon as I make a new edit from this point, everything will reset, and all of my new edits will disappear. You can think of this sort of like a parallel timeline that you can't go back and change, sort of like Back to the Future. All right, so let's just make a small edit. I'm going to come here and trim out and watch my History panel. Okay, so everything after that point is gone. I don't have access to that anymore. But of course, I can go even further back in time if I like, but as soon as I make an edit, this will reset again. Okay? So needless to say, the History panel is a really useful tool, whether you need it to just go back and check out how you got to where you are, or even more so if you need to jump back in time and access an earlier point in your editing process.